Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today we're looking at the GMC 2500HD. This is also the Denali, the fully loaded version with virtually everything you can get in this truck, including the Duramax turbo diesel. A great way to go when you're in a heavy duty pickup because they last longer, you get better fuel efficiency, and usually that extra money you spend getting that diesel comes back to you in resale value down the road. But we can talk a little bit more about that later. Today I want to find out, is this GMC Denali truly worth the extra money you pay to get into this top grade truck? With the exception of its sparkling optional 20-inch chrome wheels, the Denali takes a more understated look and presentation than the jazzier cowboy western store top trims of other brands. It has body color bumpers and just enough chrome to say it's top of the line. Well, it's all dressed up. Functional hot buttons here are the integrated steps in the rear bumper, which make it much easier to get up into the box. The Denali also comes standard with tubular side steps, front tow hooks, and fog lamps. There are also power folding heated mirrors, which are likely a pretty good idea if you're parking in tight quarters. And being the HD class pickup it is, with four-wheel drive, it also has plenty of high riding profile as you'd expect with plenty of ground clearance. Moving inside, the Denali continues the understated approach to high-end pickup truck luxury. You won't find garish colors and belt buckles on the console here. Instead, a business-like tone that says top of the line a bit more softly. The dash is wrapped in soft-touch materials with contrast stitching, genuine aluminum trims, and just enough wood grain to warm up the look. Our tester had a monotone jet black interior, but you can also option a two-tone treatment with tan hides. Those leather seats are heated and cooled up front with the driver getting memory settings. In the rear, the heated leather bench can fold upward with a 60-40 split, which allows for additional cargo storage of tall items. The cockpit is well laid out with important controls located within easy reach, such as the integrated trailer brake controller. The instrument cluster has two traditional dials and a customizable center screen with virtual gauges. You'll find the tilt and telescoping steering wheel is heated in addition to having controls for most audio, cruise control, and driver menu functions. Huge storage options are found in the center console, which also has 110-volt outlets and all manner of connectivity options, including USB. Front and center is the 8-inch touchscreen top-end Bose audio and navigation system with IntelliLink. The menus are very easy to use and navigate even while on the go. The system also boasts a 4G LTE Wi-Fi connection, which can accommodate up to 7 devices within 50 feet of the truck. Nice! One of the features on this truck that really got my attention, and it will, is the safety alert seat. And it's something that General Motors has had now in the last year. And basically what it is when you have minders like this truck has in the case that we're going to talk about right now, the lane keeping system. One of the ways it can warn you is through a vibration in the seat. So we're driving down the road here and I'm kind of letting my mind wander and I let the truck veer over here to the left lane. Ooh, I just got a jolt. Down here on my left side, my left thigh, I just got a vibration here. And that's one of the unique things about this seat. It's got two different sides to it. So if I veer off to the right over the solid line over here, woo, I just got it again. And if you're not used to it, it shocks you at first, not electrically speaking, but it'll make you jump out of your chair if you don't expect it. Now, the good news is you don't have to use this warning. You can have a chime or you can turn the system off altogether, but it's pretty innovative, I have to admit. Under the hood is the optional 6.6-liter Duramax V8 turbo diesel. While not the most powerful on the market, it is very close with 397 horsepower and 765 pound-feet of torque. That power is delivered to the ground through an ultra-heavy-duty Allison 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, power, well, you would think that almost 400 horsepower and nearly 800 pound-feet of torque would translate to what you would call a high-performance driving experience. Well, truth be told, this truck weighs almost 7,400 pounds. Think about that. That's like driving two Camaros at the same time. So while it is peppy, it certainly isn't the kind of speed that your mind might conjure up with this amount of power. The good news is it comes on pretty low in the rev range. Diesels don't rev out. We're going about now 65 miles an hour out here on the highway, and we're revving about
1800 RPM. We're in cruise mode.
Towing is really what much of optioning this engine is all about. With its prodigious torque, it can tow up to 17,100 pounds as ours is configured, and it has a maximum payload of 2,793 pounds. That means, for instance, it could tow a trailer loaded with 2 trucks just like it.
Now, if you watch my reviews regularly, you know I've got a little bit of a fetish with the washboard road when it comes to testing pickup trucks and SUVs. And it's because, even though it's not true off-roading, this ribbed surface can really show how well put together the body structure, the suspension, and the chassis is, and how well it handles vibrations. And so far, what you can see and what you can hear, what I'm finding is, well, this is a pickup truck. They tend to be affected. They tend to be affected pretty well by these washboard surfaces. And so what that means is this does have a bit of a jittery ride, a little bit of axle skate going around these corners. And I am getting a lot of shaking here in the hood and some of the body panels. Now that doesn't mean this is a pile at all. What it means is this is a heavy-duty pickup truck with a very stiff suspension. It's not made to give you that nice soft ride that you would expect in a crossover vehicle.
Rolling at a good clip, I was able to experience the interaction of the StabiliTrak stability control system. Going around these gravel corners, the rear of the truck wants to swing out, but as soon as I felt that feeling, the system stepped in and gracefully and predictably kept it in line.
Riding down the highway, this has a pretty quiet ride inside. It's a pretty comfortable place to be. They've done a lot with the sound deadening, so the diesel engine really isn't something that you're noticing most of the time, other than the fact it's got a slightly different sound, of course, than a gas engine. But when you're out here cruising on the highway, it settles down to a low RPM, and it's just kind of a nice hum in the background. And when you combine it with a pretty well insulated cab in terms of road noise, it's pretty nice.
Living with the Sierra 2500 HD is surprisingly easy. Even though it is a very large and heavy vehicle, its four-wheel disc brakes are strong enough to keep it manageable around town and stop-and-go traffic. The suspension and steering are nimble in a way that makes it no more difficult to handle than most sport utility vehicles, and the standard rear-view camera makes parking lot gymnastics a snap.
In my week with this truck, I averaged 17 mpg on a tank of fuel, and that is a 50-50 driving cycle of in town and on the highway. My best highway mpg I saw was 22.5. Not bad for a vehicle this big and heavy. Around town, it's about 11 or 12. So that balance is really right in the middle at about 17. Now that said, obviously if you tow, if you have a bunch of weight on this truck, it's not going to be that high. And because they don't publish actual MPG ratings for these trucks, you always sort of have to go on anecdotal evidence. But 17, as far as an average, is pretty good for any vehicle that's this size and weighs this much. And that really is what you get the diesel for. Summing it up for the GMC 2500 HD, I gotta say, I think it's a pretty nice package, especially with this Denali trim level. It's got virtually everything you could ever want in a truck. It's almost like a Cadillac sedan that's got all the bells and whistles. And granted, when you look at that price tag, well, you know you've bought yourself everything there is to get. But the truth be told, you can spend more on this truck. You can get into $70,000 if you add a few more things. That said, it's really not out of line though. If you get into a Ford or a Ram, heavy-duty, full-size truck with everything on it, you're in that same neighborhood. And the last thing I'd say there is that it's pretty normal to get pretty good discounts on these trucks. Pretty routine to see $5,000 and $10,000 discounts if you really know how to negotiate. So don't let that price scare you too much. Now, as far as the stars are concerned, a couple areas I wanted to point out. On the driver aids package, it's missing blind spot warning. It's got everything else, things you wouldn't expect to find in a truck, like lane keeping and forward collision warning. No blind spot warning would be helpful with something this large. The other thing is the transmission can be a little bit rough and abrupt shifting, and I know it's a heavy-duty transmission. I've driven Ford and I've driven Ram. They're a little bit more refined in that area, but overall we're at 4 stars for the week. Not bad. I'm Sam Haymar for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.